Good morning, everyone. We're Team Base Network. Our members, Katrin, Nasrin, myself, Kevin, and members of the Blue Lab team who are currently off in Washington, D.C., trying to get us $75,000 worth of capital. The members of the Blue Lab team went over to Nicaragua in 2010, and they basically installed digesters, and they met Rosa, who lives there, and she uses a wood-burning stove, which looks like this. The smoke that comes out of this stove is toxic for her. Every year, 2 million people die in developing nations due to air pollution. It generally is responsible for 4% of the global disease burden. Next slide, please. The way we're trying to solve this problem is that the Blue Lab team came up with a half-bag biogas digester that uses little to no water to produce biogas, which can be used as a clean alternative fuel. Through relatively nominal inputs and activities like money, manufacturing, distribution, and support, we hope to produce significant outcomes and outputs like increased quality of life, generate employment, and ultimately increase the GDP across various markets. Specifically speaking, we hope to have significant environmental, health, as well as economic impacts that can be distributed, such as this. Impacts like women and children will breathe cleaner air while cooking, as well as reduce the number of trees that are cut down. Next, please. So if you look at the global market, the alternative fuel source market is set to grow to $15.1 billion by 2015, and almost a fifth of the world's population lives in rural agriculture settings. That's like 1.3 billion of users right there. For our initial entry market point, we have chosen Nicaragua, mainly because we have key partners in Nicaragua, as well as it has conditions that are specific, that are helpful for our product. So they have cattle as well as scarcity of water there, and they also have one of the byproducts of our biogas digester is the effluent, which can be used as fertilizer. That fertilizer can itself increase the crop yield by up to 200%. And there's a very demonstrable need of fertilizers in Nicaragua. Now we acknowledge that there are other student groups as well as private companies who are already in Nicaragua and working on specifically setting biogas digesters, but we still are confident that we would be able to break into this market, mainly because we will sell the product at a much cheaper price, as well as because it utilizes less water, and Nicaragua is a dry place. Now, initially, when we entered the class, we thought that we would enter Nicaragua, use Nicaragua as our initial entry point. We've stuck to that. We would partner with NGOs. We've also stuck to that. But we thought that we should focus on health and environmental concerns while making a pitch for the product. But that has changed because as we spoke to businesses as well as social organizations who work in Nicaragua, we were reminded of the importance of forging strong community ties, because perceptions, especially the local perceptions, go a long way. So the insights that we gained from our conversations is that we should change targets. We should start talking to the head of the family and the government for subsidies. We should also change our tag, change our song to, we would save money for you, and this would lead to more food production, instead of saying that it's healthy for you or it's environmentally friendly for you. However, our product still remains unchanged. We are still sticking to half-bag biogas digester, which is basically, so there are two types of biogas digesters. One is the full bag, the other is the half bag that we're using. The full bag digesters are slightly more, not slightly, they are far more costly. as well as, but they can be installed right off the shelf. But if we look at developing nations, they have ready human capital, human resources that can just go in and install the digester and basically, and also that this, unlike biogas digester, is cheaper to use. Now, naturally, we'll talk about business.
So we currently have two different revenue models. The first one is a single household unit, and the second one is a larger digester for more than one family. So in both of these biodigesters, the families can utilize the biogas and the fertilizer, and for the second model, they can split up the cost as well as the benefits. And also, as you can see in the model, at the bottom, our model is much cheaper than some of the competitive models that are currently out there, which can cost upwards to $700. So our product is currently not an off-the-shelf product, so we'll be responsible for installing, maintaining, and monitoring our product. So all the materials that are needed will be brought together in Nicaragua, and the installation manager will be responsible for installing, maintaining, and monitoring our product. We really want to create strong community ties, so we want to make sure that our customers receive the best service available, as well as making sure that our products are always working efficiently. So we will have two main offices, one in Ann Arbor and one in Nicaragua. So the one in Nicaragua is basically responsible for selling, installing, maintaining, monitoring, as well as collecting customer surveys and customer samples to give back to the Ann Arbor office, so our research and development can make our product more efficient and reduce our cost for the model. And the Ann Arbor model, which is basically our research and development, is going to work on our product as well as securing grants and donations to make sure that our social venture is sustainable. So our key partners, we really want to create strong community ties because we realize that that's the way that we're going to sell the most products. So we want to work with NGOs and the different community leaders, as well as also strengthen our current ties with Green Empowerment as of Phoenix, and we also want to continue working with Blue Lab. So it's really important that we hire a intelligent, dedicated, motivated installation manager. It's critical that we hire the right people for the job because they're going to be interacting with our customers on a daily basis, and they're going to be in charge of collecting samples and collecting surveys for our research and development team so we can better our product. So we know that there are a lot of risks with having this social venture. The first is the market is too crowded, but we think that our product has a competitive advantage because one, it's cheaper, two, it uses less water, and on top of everything, we're going to be maintaining and monitoring our product on continuously, which a lot of current organizations and competition that does not do that. We also have a limited amount of capital, but we're persistently working to get grants and donations. As Adi has mentioned before, that one of our current members is in DC to present our business model and our current prototype for the EPA P3 Phase 2 grant, which is for $75,000. So we hope he gets that today. So working with these competitions and grants and donations, we hope that we get a large amounts of funds so we reduce our costs, and that way we could provide it at a cheaper price for a lot more people. Another challenge we have is the inability to fill leadership positions in the community, so we're reassessing the salaries and the control of the directors and the managing directors, so in order to hopefully attract more qualified leaders. So the milestones we have achieved, we've clearly defined our customers. We have a clear business plan. We have a working model. We are also one of the semifinalists for the Dell Social Innovation Competitions. We've already gotten $10,000 from the EPA P3 Phase 1 grant, and we're currently competing for the EPA P3 Phase 2 grant, which is for $75,000. So the next steps, we're preparing for our pilot program in winter of 2012. So we're going to be working all throughout fall 2011 to make sure that everything is in place for our pilot program, as well as working throughout summer 2012 to make sure that we're closely monitoring and maintaining our biodigesters in the field to see how they're working in the field and how people interact with them. We're also attending the Latin American Biogas Conference in spring of 2012, so we're hoping that we create more ties and stronger relationship in Latin
So the lessons learned. Well, I think everyone in the room would agree with these. Ambiguity becomes a way of life. You're not sure what the customer wants. You have to find out. You conduct interviews, but you might get, misled. That happens a lot. For example, one of the people we talked to said that, oh, I've got the entire Nicaraguan market to myself, and I'm doing so great that there's no need for you to come in. That's basically what he said. But you have full control over your enterprise, but at the same time, you have full responsibility as well. So if anything goes wrong, you're the person who's going to go down. Selling the idea is key. You need to give a lot of pitches in front of a lot of people and a lot of different people. You need to be able to talk to them in their own language, the one that they understand. Finally, it's not all about struggle. If you succeed, you get rewarded for that. Both you have the contentment that you've made a difference in the lives of so many people, as well as you've made some money out of it in the process.